Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Fist and Jawa Save the Universe. I am Fist-25 and today we're going to do a ship review on the brand new ship. Well, technically it's still in PTU, but 5 may drop today. This is the Kruger Intergalactic L-21 Wolf, a brand new light fighter from Kruger and the first Kruger ship that actually is not a snub ship and has a quantum drive. It is pretty sleek, it is pretty fast, it's very agile, and just like my last video, this one is fully kitted out with the loadout I'm going to provide in the video. So before we get to it, down below here in the YouTube, I do longer form videos, so if you want to see a specific section or me talk about a specific thing and you have an attention span of only 1 or 2 minutes, this is probably not the video for you, but you can skip around and see the stuff you want to see. And I'll just leave it at that, and on with the show. All right, folks, so here it is, the Kruger Intergalactic L-21 Wolf. Not sure how it quite got its name, but it is actually a really beautiful looking ship. It reminds me of an M1 starfighter from Star Wars or Royal Naboo, whatever that was, like episode 1. It is a light fighter. It is very similar to the Anvil Arrow. I think that's a good representation of this ship as a whole. It's very fast. It's very agile. I mean, extremely agile. One of the most agile fighters we have in the game. It does not pack a huge punch when it comes to weapons, although 2 size 4s is nothing to you could shake a stick at it, I guess I should say. But overall, I really like the design of the ship. Let's look at some of the aesthetics as we walk around. So starting from the nose, notice it does sit kind of nose up there. The developer said it had a little bit of a silhouette of a Supermarine Spitfire, which is a British fighter from World War II. And yes, that airplane does kind of sit nose up because its tail is so low, and so the propeller sits up. Other than that, I don't think it's too much reminiscent of a Spitfire. It does have very sleek curves, very sleek lines, as we can see. Looks like there's a lot of opportunity to put interactable panels on here, but there is only a few. This being one of them, that is the fuel port, which has absolutely no use in 4.3 or 4.2.1. As we can see from the intake, what is assumed to be an intake, it does look like an aircraft intake, but I like the nacelle being on the side. It's kind of got a distinct and different look to it. Down here, these are this is mirrored on the other side because it's a symmetrical ship, but those are where 4 of your size 1 missiles are going to sit. Moving along, the port side engine nacelle. It does look cool, like you could do some maintenance on it, and it has an exposed engine here, and this is weird. As a design choice, it looks really cool and it looks good, but as a practical choice, spaceflight or whatever, that's not a good option because you don't have any protection on this exposed engine cavity. What if bullets were to get through and hit one of your engines while you're flying? It's great for heat dissipation, I'll give you that, but design choice looks amazing, not a practical choice. Although I guess you do have a secondary engine internal, but that doesn't do you much good when the first one next to it blows up. Does look like it has a variable exhaust nozzle, like it looks like it has a vent here coming out where you can put some afterburner in, and it looks pretty awesome. The detail on that with the the purpling, the darkening of the metal for when it gets hot. That happens in real life, and so it looks really fantastic. This panel right here, it's hard to see. That is how you enter the pilot seat, right here on the port side, lower of the wing. That's kind of a Kruger standard, if you will. No idea what this thing is supposed to be, other than maybe get the fog off your shoes. Another kind of interior design piece here, serves no real purpose on this kind of side wing. As we make our way back to the rear of the ship, we can see that there is one large engine with a very pronounced tail cone coming out of it. And the coloring of the metal here, from its kind of base or black up to that purplish patina, indicating that a lot of heat's been going through it, is really, really well done. The coloring of the ship and the way the light reflects on it, phenomenal. Really, really well done to CIG on that aspect of the ship. And then it has some branding right here, the L-21. Woof. This is the stock paint. And you can see that there are three thruster cones over here. Same thing on the other side of the ship, 3 thruster cones. There's some thrusters up here on that wing. There's some down below. And there's some up front here by the side of the ship. And you'll see it's extremely agile. Now, there is some compartments in the ship that do open up. It's hard to see with the reflection. This one on the starboard side wing is your storage, and it has 450,000 micro SCU for storage on the ship. So, I mean, a little bit of storage definitely helps. Moving around the starboard side, it is exactly the same. There's our missiles over here. We can't see our guns right now because the ship doesn't have power on it. But the guns do come out of this compartment up here, and it's a really cool animation you'll see when we fire the ship up and get it going. Now, there is another compartment. I believe is it on the port side? Yep, I found it. So coming back to the rear of the ship on the port side, right back here by these thrusters, if you hit open, it opens up a panel to hold your weapons. So I just happen to have a weapon. I can place that rifle up there. I don't know if it's going to, it does look like it's going to hold a pistol as well. So yeah, you can store your rifle and pistol as you want in that corner. It does not have anything on this other corner for you to do that. So really it's just a weapon rack, a storage port, and a fuel port is what the ship has for storage. Go ahead and grab our weapons back, store them on our character. And that is it for kind of the outside exterior tour. Let's go ahead and hop into the pilot seat of the Wolf. And we're going to come up on the lower left wing, jump our feet in here. And of course, my gaze drifts. Here we go. Let's give kind of an overview from the top. You can see that long exposed engine in the back. So a total of like 5 engines here. The ship does sit that upright position, kind of like a Spitfire. Yeah. You can see the various thrusters all over the sides and the top. And it looks like down in the middle here, we would have that would have been an ideal place for like a gun or something, but there's nothing there. As you're going to see, the guns actually come up. We're in this compartment right here that's kind of covered up. And I'm going to go ahead and start the ship.
Your adventure, courtesy of Kruger Intergalactic. Systems active.
Okay, so first off, let me go to the outside again, and you can see where the 2 size 4 bespoke guns come out. They are ballistic. They are ballistic Gatlings. They are really long, and they are freaking cool looking. If I hit P, turn off my guns, you can see they flip down in there, and they come back out. Just super cool animation, really nice attention to detail. From the cockpit, this is it's kind of cool. It's kind of different. We have just a ton of visibility, a ton of cockpit glass up here, and a lot of people were worried that with the nose sitting up a little bit that you would lose some viewing angle, and I don't think you lose anything. With where you're sitting, I think it's completely fine, to be quite honest. Moving down into the cockpit, we do have an ejection seat lever down there, and we do have a clock on a different ship, but this is the Kruger intergalactic clock, and it is cool looking. It's telling me that it's basically 9:12, or I'm sorry, 9 o'clock, maybe 9:05, 90 something. Okay, on the server time. And I'm curious to see if it matches up with the actual server time. It's really hard for me to tell on this screen. Server time is 21:02. And yeah, it does match up with the server time. So that's pretty neat. Not that that's going to help you with anything with day-night cycles, but it's kind of cool. Okay, moving around the cockpit here from the left, you can see we have a bunch of what appears to be like buttons, but really it's just lights that don't do anything. Moving up with our mouse on the kind of top left of like a master caution panel, we have open pilot canopy, open exterior, and exit. So those are the three on the left. Moving across the top, there really isn't anything. We do have our warning panel here with power, thrusters, etc., etc. Moving down to the right, we have another power off, engine on, and to the right, some more. I don't know what that means with the button. We have lights on, lights off. Is that internal lights? Because they did go green. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but as you can see, I turned the actual ship lights on. They're pretty decent. They're not great. But you're not going to be messing with this a whole lot. You know, you have engine on, engine off, things like that. What's more impressive, not only that it has two MFDs, right? And I have my power ones up. It doesn't come default by that, but gives you, and it's hard to see, this meter right here is your afterburner, how much afterburner you have left, and I can see how much hydrogen fuel I have left, 98% right there. Moving to the left, I can actually see my speed, see if my gear is up or down, which it is down. I can see my speed in meters per second, what if I'm in SCM mode and my guns are on, where my G's are at, things like that. That is kind of unique to this. And I'm going to go ahead and just refuel quick. And you should see this guy go up. Yep, 99%. And then it'll keep it 99 because I'm actually running the engines right now. So with the components I have in there now, and we'll go over more as we get into the loadout section, but you can see in my pips right now, I have one pip in guns because they're ballistic. They don't need power like lasers do. I have full boost, 4 pips. I have full shields, which are 4, 5, 6 pips on my shields. I don't have my quantum drive on. Don't need life support right now. I do have full radar and my coolers. Yeah, 2 pips on one cooler, 1 pip on the other. And that's there's a specific reason for that. Stealth, infrared, I am at 18K for my infrared emissions. EM emissions at almost 14K, and then cross section is 5.5. It has a really low cross section, but this is definitely not a stealth ship in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to be detected 20K out, and I'm okay with that because it's a fighter. It's made to fight. Okay. Now let's lift up a little bit. Lift up is very nice, very smooth. The sounds can be a little but it's still okay. I like the tricycle landing gear it has with the struts, and we're going to go ahead and retract those. And you can see the dumbest thing about this ship come out of the ship. It has a ventral fin. I don't know why it has a ventral fin, and why it came out with you know, I can understand why it came out with the gear but it really serves no purpose. So with the gear up, the ventral fin comes out. It's a design choice. We actually tried to destroy it the other day on the stream, and it's wholly connected to the ship, and so you can't just bust it off. I am worried though, if you are flying low and you hit something with that, if it's going to send your ship careening off. So I do not like that part of the ventral fin. I'll go ahead and engage the weapons. Very smooth weapons there. And yeah, the ship just overall looks good, feels good. We're up in space right now, and we're gonna head out. Yeah, it moves very quick. It's a very nimble fighter. Piece of a fighter over there. Okay, so now we're here at my Genie Point, and we're just kind of just flying around. I'm gonna throw cruise control on, and we're gonna see that our SEM speed's basically 230. We're gonna throw some boost in there, really quick acceleration. We are at max boost. It's about 509, 510 for max boost. I'm gonna switch over into SCM mode. I'm sorry, into nav mode as I'm pulling G's in my turns. We're going to engage from 0 to max SCM without boost, or max nav without boost, and we just hit it. It's basically 1225 is our max nav speed, nav mode speed, and that's fairly quick. It's right up there with the Arrow, and it moves really well. It's quick enough. It's not the fastest ship in the game, top speed wise, but it gets going. What's impressive about the ship is its roll, pitch, and yaw. So I'll give you a roll test. Roll is not the best in the world, but it's very nimble, very fast with the roll. If I'm going to do a pitch check, you can see how fast the ship pitches. Extremely quick pitch up. Pitch down is just as quick. And that's going to make this fighter one of the better ones to fight with. To be honest, if I'm doing a yaw check here, the yaw is also really well done. Very quick on yaw. So in this different 6 degrees here, you're going to be able to get around and get your nose on another ship fairly quickly. Now, is it actually a glass cannon? Sure. It's very similar to the Arrow. It doesn't have a lot of hit points. I have upgraded the shields, so I have more shield hit points, and it does have 2 size 1 shields. The Arrow only has 1, but the Arrow has more weapons. They're not as big as these 2 size 4s, and they're not, full ballistic stock, but it's just an interesting balancing act that CIG is doing with the ship. We did throw it around the racetrack the other day as well over at Crew L5, and it did pretty well. Pretty quick ship, very tight and maneuverable. You can see me just pulling a 180 here. You do max out at 20.2 Gs, and when you're pulling those hard turns, you will black out if you're not careful, as Jawa found out. There is plenty of boost in there to get you going. And we'll fly it around in third person a little bit just to give you a taste of, it's turning radius here. I don't want to, so I'm blacked out right there. I can't actually move. Hopefully I don't hit anything. And now I unblacked out. So very quick to black out. So you do need to be fairly careful about how you're flying. Okay, enough of that. This is a fighter combat ship. You know how it handles in space. It's going to handle relatively the same on a moon. In atmosphere, it flies fine. It's not real fast in atmosphere, but it is quite fun to fly. So let's take combat mission, get into that, and that's the next step. All right, so we did take a combat mission out here at Walla. Hopefully it's on the light side. I guess we'll find out. So we're going to be in the moon atmosphere. I think it's just it's PTU, so it's probably I don't have a whole bounty hunter chain going, so it's probably a very light mission or light. I'm not sure which one it is. I just picked the only one that was available. So it does look like it's going to be in the dark. let me throw some. Excuse the bloom. I'll tone it down a little bit. I'll turn the reshade up. And we're just going to head out here. We are still in quantum mode. I'll switch over to nav mode. And we're cruising along pretty well on the moon. 1210. I haven't seen our target yet. Let's switch over into shields mode. And so we have a target up. I'm going to switch to missiles. Load up 2 missiles. Let's see what this target is as we get closer to it. Looks like a 100i. It's still fairly far away. Wonder if our missiles are actually going to work. There we go. Target lock. Shot away 2 arrow missiles. We'll switch back over to guns. The missiles did hit. Hey, something's working in PTU. Notice we did have a red pip there because he sees us now. It's not green, so we're not really within range. Now we are. Let's fire our guns. Ooh, the ship's nimble. And he's already kind of going crazy up there. I'm just going to toy with him at this point. Turn the lights on. Looks like we took off a wing, probably damaged his engines pretty severely. But he's still able to kind of fire at us. Let's go ahead and take him out. And boom. He is gone, and he's spinning in circles right now. And now he's really gone. So that was... I don't know, that was kind of a... It was fine, right? It's what this mission is kind of doing. But I want to see if we can get any type of better mission here. Let's go back to Bounty Hunter, and I have another very low risk target. I don't have any of the resource drives done in PTU, so I can't really do any of those. We'll take one more and track it. Again, we're at Walla again, so hopefully it will be a light side. I guess we'll find out. Give you the whole interaction here with Quantum. The guns have quite a bit of ammo in them to start out with. It's like 4,200 rounds. But the longer you hold them down, the faster they will deplete. So, 8,400 rounds in total. That's quite a bit. Quite a bit. Okay. And keep in mind that this is an upgraded ship, right? So I do have better shields. I have I modified my cooling because I wanted to be able to have maximum shields and maximum boost while I was in SCM mode, and for that to equal exactly what my power should be. Okay. Looks like that's my target. It's a Mustang, apparently. Yeah, be careful with my altitude here. I keep a reshade off, so we're just gonna hit him with our guns. Forget about the missiles. Pinging. It's supposed to reveal who players are or names, but it is not doing that. So just go ahead and hit him with some of our guns here. Ooh. That's nice to be able to pull right back on target as they joust right past you. It is pretty nice. I just gotta be careful not to hit the deck. And now he's mad, and now he's dead. And we will finish off our target. And now he's dead. So, 2 combat missions done real fast, real quick. And that is the L-21 Wolf. That is kind of what it does and what it's made to do. Looking at our ammo count, 4,200 per gun. We're at 3,761 per gun right now. pretty good as far as ammo conservation goes. It didn't take a whole lot to take them down. Size 4s do quite a bit of damage. So with that, we're going to head on to the next section of the video, and we will see you when we wrap in the next section, and then I'll see you again in game when we wrap up. All right, folks, so here we are in the studio, and we're going to go over the loadout of the L-21 Wolf, newest ship by Kruger Intergalactic, and I have an interesting loadout on the ship to start with. I'm gonna go ahead and reset the ship to the default specs, and let me go into my actual display here. Okay, so now you can see the whole screen mostly, except for my face down here at the bottom right. Here is the default loadout for the Wolf. It comes with the Relentless L-21 ballistic Gatling. Comes with 2 of those. I'm not sure why Erkul has this 1, 2, 3, 4 on, but that's new. Anyway, 677 sustained DPS, 4,200 ammo. Those guns are bespoke. You're not taking them off. That's why this little lock symbol is there. So keep in mind, we're not going to be changing that a whole lot. We're going to be changing systems here and some missiles. Basic stats on the ship: crew size 1, ship size is 2, so it fits in a lot of different ships. Idris, Polaris, things like that. I don't think it's going to fit in the Starlancer TAC. I think it's too long. SCM speed of 230, boost forward of 510, boost backwards of 250, which is not that great, but it's okay. Max nav speed of 1225. The picture on roll stats, we're going to go over in a different section here a little bit later. Hull hit points, 8,500. That's pretty low, but it is a light fighter and sort of a glass cannon. It's fairly light as far as its mass is concerned, and it doesn't have a ton of hydrogen or quantum fuel capability. But it has a fast claim time of 4 minutes. So basic ship stats, got that out of the way. Comes with 2 launchers of 4 Marksman 1 missiles. Those are infrared missiles. It does come with 2 shields. Those hex shields, those are kind of a big deal, right? 1, you gotta have good shields. 2, it comes with 2, where the arrow only comes with 1. It comes with a Light Blossom civilian grade C power plant, which is not bad, but it's not great either. For the coolers, 2 Blast Chill civilian grade Ds. It's like, okay, I guess that's enough cooling, considering we just have ballistics. And it comes with a Foxfire competition grade B quantum drive, which is a little strange why it has a competition drive on it. So take that as you will. Let's go ahead and change out the loadout. The first thing we're going to do is take off these Marksman 1 missiles, although they're pretty good as far as damage is concerned. We're going to put on Arrow 1s, which I believe are Vanduul missiles. Those have the most damage for infrared missiles, and I kind of like infrareds and for this ship. That's going to give us just a bit more damage times 8. So as far as the shields go, I'm going to switch one out to what I already have, is the Industrial grade A Palisade size 1s. And here's the difference between the Hex civilian grade B and the Palisade. To me anyway, right? 1, the Palisade's going to have way more hit points. Even if we upgrade the civilian shields up to the Concords, which is the highest in its grade, you're going to get a little more hit points, but you're going to also remain lower on the power scale here, right? It requires 2 power and 2 cooling. The Palisade requires 3 power and 3 cooling, but you get more shield hit points out of it. That's kind of what's more important to me. If we look at just some of the general stats on the shields itself, they're pretty similar because they are grade A as far as recharge and all that stuff. they both recharge in about 18.7 seconds from zero. But you're going to get more hit points out of the Palisade, but it costs more power. So just keep that in mind. I am going to keep mine as the Palisades. We need to get power from somewhere, though. When we upgraded to the Palisades, our power pips changed to 2 required, and then 1 and 1 for extra. So we got to find power somewhere. First thing we're going to find power is getting rid of this Light Blossom Civilian Grade C power plant, which requires 14 cooling. It provides you 14 max power generation. We could go with the White Rose, which is a Civilian Grade A. It gives us 1 more power pip, requires a little more cooling. But instead of doing that, we're going to go with the Breton, which is an Industrial Grade A, and gives us 16 power pips. So we get 2 more now. So now we just made up for our shields here. Got 2 more power. Our shields need 2 more power. This Industrial Grade A needs a little bit more cooling, but I think we're already fine on cooling to begin with, even with these Civilian Grade Ds on here. So I'm going to be doing something a little odd that I normally don't do when it comes to the cooling. But it's important that we got that power back. So now with the coolers, I don't like any Grade D components if I can help it. So on the bottom cooler, I'm going to change that to a Gelid Civilian Grade A component, which is going to give us more cooling. Right? 204,000 cooling per second versus the Blast Shield, which is 190. So it does require 2 power to run that. But Blast Shield was giving us 14.5, but it has 2 power pips. I need 1 power pip from somewhere. And I'm going to grab that from this cooler. I'm going to go down to Stealth. And I'm going to go to the Vapor Block Stealth Grade B, not the C, B. And because it's a little bit more cooling, I'm going to grab it. It only requires 1 power. So I just found that power pip. So now my shields require 2 more. I covered that with my power plants. And my cooling, I went higher cooling with a Civilian Grade A. And then I went lower power and a little bit lower cooling with the Vapor Block, but it kind of evens out. My cooling efficiency is already maxed out. Now I have that extra power pip to play with. What that's going to do is over here on the power side, it lets me max out my shields all the way. And it lets me max out my boost all the way as well. I only need 1 weapon pip because I have bespoke ballistic Gatlings that don't need that type of cooling. Like the lasers do, right? They don't have the big requirement for the cooling. Just require power. So kind of maximize the power there. We don't have to have life support right now, so I'm not accounting for it. For the quantum drives, the competition grade B Foxfire, it's fine. And as far as fuel efficiency goes, it's okay. You can definitely make it across Stanton with this drive, but it is fairly slow, I will say. It's not that bad to spool up and spool down, but it's still going to take you about 6 minutes to go from Microtech to ArcCorp. Instead, we're going to go with the standard Atlas Civilian Grade A, probably the best quantum drive for a size 1 ship. We're going from 168,000 kilometers a second to 231,000 kilometers a second, and that's a really big jump in speed. And now we're going to make it from Microtech to ArcCorp in 4.5 minutes versus over 6 minutes. So maybe that 1.5 minutes doesn't matter to you. You want to save a little bit of quantum fuel. I don't know. But I think this is the way to go. You can get all around Stanton with 1 tank of gas. You'll have to refuel at some point, but that is what I would recommend for a quantum drive. It also spools up and spools down faster with the grade A versus a grade B or grade C, grade D. That's it. That's loadout. There's not that much to it. I can't change anything else. I can't change the missile launchers. I can't change the guns. It's really just the systems. And so this will match exactly what I had in my build. So now we're going to compare some basic stats here for the light fighter career field on ships, right? And already have some stuff going. So if we're gonna compare, let's first take a look at, I don't care about dimensions necessarily. Let's take a look at our mass. We can see the wolf is towards the bottom, which I want to go lighter is better. So 125A arrow is only at 30,000 mass. The wolf falls down here, kind of way down towards the bottom. I did that. Sorry. Wolf is lighter than the arrow. So the blade is the lightest at 23,219, and the wolf is second lightest. It's lighter than an Aurora, and that stat may end up getting tweaked. I don't know, but it's lighter, meaning it should be faster, but it isn't. So keep that in mind. As far as hit points go, the highest hit points for a light fighter is going to be in the Hawk. The wolf is sort of kind of in the middle when it comes to these light fighters, right? Almost directly in the middle at 8,500. Very similar. You've probably heard me say this in the video. Very similar to the arrow. The arrow is 8,580. The wolf is 8,500. Blade is 7,950, right? Lowest hit points is the 125A, and then the Auroras, then the Gladius down there, low hit points, glass cannon. The top is the Hawk, the Reliant Tana, R2 all, etc. It comes to SCM speed, the highest is going to be the 125A. It makes sense. It's very light, low hit points. It's got to have some kind of redeeming quality to it, right? But if we go down, we're going to see that the wolf is third best as far. Now this is Erkul stats, third best as far as SCM speed at 230. The arrow right behind it at 229, and the blade at 227. Interesting statistic there. Of course, the Buccaneer has 10 more, and the 25A very fast. Banu Defender being tied for the slowest with the Reliant Tana. Boost speed actually kind of matters. So we can see the 125A has the highest boost speed, 610. Right, and then we get into the Buck, some Gladius variants. Again, the wolf is kind of in the middle here at 510. The arrow bidding it out at 515, but those are really, really, really close. And the R2 all and the blade. I mean, I would really say from Gladius all the way down to the blade, maybe even the Hawk, they're really right in that same range. Maximum nav speed, your escape speed, right? 125A, again, the fastest in there, but kind of the smallest as well. The wolf is pretty high, though. 1,225. Very fast. For some reason, the Aurora MR is faster, but at the top, the Buck and the 125A, we hit the wolf, and then the arrow, 1215, so 10 kilometers a second slower. What really gets me here is when we start looking at our pitch, yaw, and roll numbers. For pitch, wolf and the arrow are tied for the same. There's 75. That's the two highest fastest pitching ships in the game, right? So agility wise, nimbleness, they're really right there. Right behind it is the blade, and the 125A Mustang Delta. As far as yaw goes, R2 all is the highest on yaw. Below that, the Banu Defender for some reason. But we get to the wolf. It's still kind of towards the top. It's got 52 for its yaw stat. The arrow has 57. So the arrow is going to yaw much faster, not much faster, a little bit faster than the wolf. But again, I keep comparing these two ships because they're so similar. When we look at roll numbers, hey, what's on top? The wolf. Wolf and the R2 all are tied for the two highest amounts of roll in the game. As far as the light fighters are concerned, the arrow is under it at 205. So again, really, really close in stats with the Anvil Arrow. Not going to even bother looking at boost numbers because that's all fairly uniform across the spectrum here. If we look at hydrogen capacity, of course, Banu Defender is going to have a ton of hydrogen. If it can fly around forever. But if we come and look for the wolf, it's again right in the middle for its hydrogen. It's at 9 SCU for its hydrogen. Where is the arrow? down here at 7.5. So the Wolf can fly around longer just on its basic gas. But when we compare the quantum fuel capacity, again, the Banner Defender, tons of fuel in that ship. When we get to the Wolf, it's like the worst as far as quantum fuel. You can't quantum as long as you want to. CIG may adjust that stat, but right above it and tied for worst, all the way from the Mustang, Delta, Cartuel, Hawk, Blade, Aurora, MR, Aurora, LN, Arrow. They're all at 1.1. And so none of that is really good. 1.3 isn't really great either, although it really depends on your mass. But pretty much everything has really low quantum fuel, with the Wolf being the worst in this quantum fuel. Moving along, as far as comparison goes, I think that's really all I really want to compare ships. Because claim time and expedite time, no one really cares about that. We don't have an in-game price yet on the Wolf either, so it'll be interesting to see what that's going to be. It's probably going to be a little bit premium. We're going to head into SC Ships Performance Viewer, and I'm going to also throw the Asperian Blade into the competition. So the Arrow is in the red, Wolf is in the blue, and the Blade's in the green. As we can see, these three ships very, very similar. The Wolf here at for SEM speed 510, it has the Arrow at 515. It has the Blade at 500. So all really within 5 SCM of each other. The nav speed, again, really, really close, with the Wolf just edging things out at 1225. Arrow at 1215. The Blade at 1191. Blade's a little bit slower. These other two ships are going to pull away from it. With its propulsion, look how close and similar these numbers are, with the Blade being a little worse than the rest. But it just bounces back and forth. The Arrow has that one bigger engine in the back, and that's why it has a little more thrust. Strafing, the Kruger Wolf is better in strafing. They're really about the same in up, going up. And in down, the Wolf is significantly better at 7.6 than the other two. Really, rotational axis speed, those are fairly the same. I think the big differences here we're really looking at is we're looking at shields. Now, the Blade has the most shield pool. These are all stock numbers at 3460. But looking at the Arrow and the Wolf is sitting at 3,000 shields. The Arrow's at 1730. Having that extra shield is going to add a lot to the longevity of the Wolf. But the Arrow does break up into multiple pieces. So does the Blade. Looking at total health pool, though, whole hit points, really, the Arrow actually has just a little bit more than the Wolf, 80 more, but that's really nothing, right? So these two are almost identical in total health pool, right? So the Wolf is going to be a little more defensive, a little more agile. I'm not sure if I would say it has more firepower. It has different firepower than the Arrow. The Arrow probably more longevity with its lasers to stay out there in the fight. The Blade is down here a little bit less in total health pool than ships combined. Or not combined, but both of these ships. And then when we look at dimensions and mass, the Blade is the biggest. The Wolf is a little bit bigger than the Arrow as well. Then we can look at the mass. The lowest mass out of all the ships is going to be the Blade, but not by much next to the Wolf. And the Arrow, for some reason, is actually heavier than both of them significantly by almost 7,000 kilograms. We look at storage. The Blade has more internal storage than the Wolf. The Arrow's right behind it. So really, the Arrow and the Wolf are right there. As far as stealth goes and radar emissions, the Wolf has the least overall. But let's say you were to make the ship really stealthy. We're looking at cross-section, right? So the side cross-section on the Wolf is 5,600. The side cross-section on the Arrow is 5,647. So yes, the Wolf is just a skosh more stealthy, but not really. They're really the same number. The Arrow has a top cross-section of 7473, which makes it significantly less stealthy. The Wolf and the Blade is definitely not stealthy at all. So if you're looking for a little bit of stealth, you're going to find that in the Wolf. But depending on what components you have on there and things like that, you could have pretty crazy emissions when it comes to IR and EM. like my loadout, not stealthy at all. We already talked about fuel in these ships. Wolf having the most hydrogen and the least amount of quantum fuel. And then I'm not really concerned about the boost or the weapon segments. The blade also takes longer to. So that is loadout section and the ship comparison section of the Wolf. One thing I did want to get into is price, though. So looking here at the Kruger L-21 Wolf ship page, right? Consider it's brand new and it's technically pre-order, but you can fly it in the PTU right now if you want to. A lot of cool stuff on here. A lot of cool paints as well. That is the stock paint that we were flying around the video on. The Rosso is the red. You have the white, the frost camo. Not very camo to me. The Sylvan camo, that's a lot more. The heat sink, which is kind of cool. It's got the red and yellow trim. And the Riftwalker, which is my favorite, the one I like flying around, which is more black. But really, you're looking at price here, right? So we can see, of course, for Concierge with the Concierge paint, it's $90. That's standalone. That's new money. It's also $90 for War Bond with the bonus paint. For any other people, you just don't get the Concierge paint. So really, you're looking at about $90 for the price of the ship. When we move down a little bit, we're looking at some other stuff. If you're going to buy this with store credit, it's $100. And I did a CCU, so mine ended up being $100 as well. If we go to the Arrow, we're just looking at the price of the Arrow, just like by itself. It's $75. So really similar as far as stats of the ship. It is $75. For the Wolf is 90 to 100. Arrow, you're looking at $75. Now that's only 6 months insurance. That's not LTI. If you're an LTI guy or gal, Arrow is cheaper. The Arrow is older. The Arrow doesn't have as cool of paints, although it does have paints you can buy in game. So looking at the value of the ship, the Wolf is a little bit better in some aspects of value. Right, if you buy right now, it's going to have LTI. I think the paints are better, although that's just cosmetic. Some of the ship stats are better, and it's got kind of a unique flair with the guns and the stupid ventral turret. Arrow doesn't really have any of that. It is a really flat ship that is shaped like a freaking arrow. I think it's shaped awesome. It's very F-16 like with that big single engine in the back. It looks cool and it flies really fast. So, and it's cheaper, like $25 cheaper. It's a quarter less than what the Kruger L-21 costs standalone. So you're looking at basically $100 to $75. Although that typically is the price of an actual AAA title game, being about $75 to $50. And then you're just getting one ship. But if this is the kind of stuff you like to do, then maybe Arrow is the ship for you, or maybe it's the Kruger L-21 Wolf. So you decide. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now on to probably the wrap up the video. Thanks for watching so far. So how do we feel about the Kruger L-21 Wolf? To be honest, I'm a little torn with it. I like it better than the Arrow. I used to have an Arrow and I liked it a lot when it first came out, but I don't know. I just stopped flying it because it wasn't my style. I wanted something a little heavier. And that was back in the days when everything was jousting and it was just speed and speed and speed. And it just wasn't a ton of fun to fly. But now with this L-21 Wolf, it's kind of nice to get back into flying around a light fighter that's very quick. It is certainly extremely different from the Gladius, which I really like the Gladius. It's probably one of my favorite fighters to fly besides the Hornet, but this one's kind of growing on me quite a bit. the agility, the nimbleness. I do have a penchant for ballistic weapons, especially ballistic Gatlings, with the Remnant, and now this one, and the one in the Meteor. I kind of like it, but yeah, the Wolf is growing on me quite a bit. I really hate the stupid ventral fin. It just seems dumb to me, and it doesn't. For me, it doesn't add to the design, so I say it's stupid. I guess the designers wanted to maybe make it look different than a Disney ship. I don't know, but I hope it's toggleable. I hope you can toggle it off in the future, and if they do that, then I think this is overall a good ship. I do think it's a good ship now. It's roughly at the price point of the Arrow. It has roughly the stats of an Arrow, but better shields, a little bit less customization of the guns, but I like the size of the guns a lot as well. Very similar to like an Intrepid, but it doesn't have a sleeping space or hold cargo, and it's definitely more nimble. Gun-wise, you know, size 4, ballistic, bespoke, etc. I think CIG's on the kind of a theme here this year with the Meteor and the Wolf and the Intrepid, at least in the past year. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on the Kruger L-21 Wolf. What do you think of it? Do you think it's a worthy fighter? Do you think it's garbage? Do you even like the light fighter genre? How does it compare when you're testing? Have you used it in PvP? Is it as good as, say, a Hornet or a Gladius? I mean, really curious to see what you think. And please put that stuff in the comments below. Don't forget, Fist and Jawa, we stream every Thursday night at 7 p.m. with the B team. And if you've stayed along, watching the video all the way to the end here, next Thursday, after this comes out initially, we are going to be doing a race with the Wolf, and we're going to be giving one away with concierge paint and all the paints actually, but we're going to be giving a Wolf away. So you have to be in the game with the B team in the Discord with us to have a chance to win. But it's the racetrack, the advanced racetrack around Crew L5, and more details are found in the Discord. So head to the description down there below and check out the Discord. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your view, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.